Yeah.
Questions?
Thanks, Minister. There's an awful lot of issues at play here, and obviously we can only just scratch at them. Starting off, the problems that we have around the construction industry in Ireland reflect poorly on this government, the last government and the government before them. No one seems to be doing anything about the problems that prevail. The fact that this company, how in God's name did one company get so much state work? I'd love to know that. What kind of connections do they have to get so much work? I'd like to know that. I'd like to know why no one has done anything about the fact, if you're tendering for work in this country, right, one of the first things you're going to be asked is, what's your turnover? Don't ask you how good you are, they ask you how big you are. Big is best. Well, I can tell you that the majority of bad work in this country is done by bigger entities, not smaller ones. That's a fact. But these are wedded to the financial end of it, and I can remember when we were starting off, unless we had done a contract of a particular size, we couldn't tender for work. It's absolute nonsense. Right, just to move on to your clerk of works, right, there's a bit of confusion about that. The truth be told, when you have design and build, if there's a clerk of works on site and he sees concrete about to be poured and the steel is actually a size smaller than it's supposed to be, and the clerk of works says, there's a problem with that. That steel should be 32 mil, it's only 25. The contractor can say to him, I'll take responsibility for that. That's actually a fact. He said, I'll take responsibility for that. And you're right, responsibility is 100% with the contractor. Actually not in the clerk of works situation there, right? It's actually not the clerk of works' fault, because he doesn't actually have the power to stop them in design and build. It's a nuts situation. It's not a good idea. Design and build creates huge problems. The same as your PPPs create problems. It is so blatantly obvious that there's so many problems around how you are doing things. I can't for the life of me understand why no one gives a bollocks. Like, I mean, why doesn't somebody want to change it? Why doesn't someone want to address the inherent problem, the problems that have been there for years? Because they can be fixed. You can do things different. But there's no. The guy in my office pulled out an article this morning from October 2015. It says, Education Minister Janet Sullivan confirmed she is currently arranging the safety checks on some facilities built by Western Building Systems, which has constructed 26 schools for the state since 2008 after chronic problems were exposed. And in 2014 and 2015, the same company got more schools with the same government. Why would you give more work to a company that had proved itself to be doing poor work? Why would you do that? Can you answer that? Why does a company who has proved themselves not to be good get more work? I don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense. Does it matter how you build? Or does it just matter what connections you have and how big you are? I mean, since we came in here in 2011, I've just seen regulations actually decreased. I've seen no one. You're talking about an 18% increase in cost to build, and you're right. But you know what? It's all paperwork. None of it is around better regulation or better supervision or inspection or oversight. None of it is that. It's all paperwork.
If you want answers,
it's absolute nonsense.
2 minutes, Minister, for the answers.
Okay, look, the Deputy has raised a number of very, very important points there, and look, when you speak to people in the building trade and at a wider level as well, you know, smaller companies feel, because of the turnover threshold, it does preclude them for tendering for contracts, and they have a proven track record as well. So look, I'm on public record on that issue, that particular issue, and I certainly would agree with the fact that it's an issue that needs to be grappled with to ensure that if the smaller companies have a good track record, they shouldn't be precluded. And I know even within my own department now, we're looking at bundling projects in the Higher Education Authority, and that is an issue which I publicly commented on before. But the reality is, through the tendering process, and the head of Building Control Committee yesterday has agreed to give a briefing to the members of the committee with regard to the processes that are employed. But within the DBO build of this particular process, this is something that I'm taking very seriously. The fact that unacceptable standards were in schools, the fact that unacceptable standards has led to this chaos for families and children, wondering, well, was my child in a school that was unsafe in the first place? Is it safe? Is that child safe today? Completely unacceptable. So whatever this review does in terms of finding out culpability and accountability and going down the legal channels, I want to learn from this, and I want to ensure that the personal responsibility comes back into this as well. We can't have somebody looking over the shoulder of a brickie at every block that he's laying. That's not possible. But we can have more accountability in terms of legislative accountability with who is responsible, and it is the contractor, it is the designer, and if there is a weakness there that you've identified with the role of the clerk of works within this particular design and build process, I'm happy, and I'm sure that the review will highlight that as well.
Now we move on.